Good morning, everyone. In the last class, I have given introduction to machine learning. What is machine learning? Why we use machine learning? What is the difference between the traditional approach and machine learning approach? And also, I discussed the different categories of machine learning. Today, I'm going to explain one category of machine learning, that is four types of machine learning. These are the categories of machine learning what I discussed in the last class. The very first one is whether or not they are trained with human supervision. Under this, it comes four types of machine learning. One is supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and reinforcement learning. In this session, I'm going to discuss about these two types, supervised machine learning and the unsupervised machine learning. Coming to the very first type of machine learning is supervised machine learning. As its name suggests, supervised machine learning is based on supervision. That means in supervised machine learning technique, we train the machines using the labeled data set based on the training, and the machine is going to predict the output. Here, what do you mean by this labeled data set? Labeled data set means all of the inputs are already mapped to the output. And more preciously, we say that first we train the machine with the input and the corresponding output, and then we ask the machine to predict the output using the test data set. Some part already we train the machine with the labeled data, and some part which remains for test data set, we ask the machine to predict the output. Let us understand this supervised machine learning with an example. Suppose we have an input data set of cats and dog images. There is a data set of cats and dog images. We'll provide the training to the machine to understand the images, such as when you see a cat or dog, first we'll see the shape and size of the tail of the cat and dog, its shape of eyes, color, height, where dogs are taller, cats are smaller, etc. All these uh, things we are going to provide the training to the machine. For completion of training, we input the picture of a cat and ask the machine to identify the object and predict the output. Now, as the machine is well trained, it will check all the features of the object like height, shape, color, eyes, ears, tail, etc. and find that it is a category. So it is going to put it in cat category. This is a process of how a machine identifies the objects in supervised machine learning. Coming to the categories of supervised machine learning is classified into two types of problems, which are classification and regression. These supervised machine learning addresses the two types of problems. One is classification problem, and other one is the regression problem. What is classification? Classification algorithms are used to solve the classification problems in which the output variable is categorical. That is yes or no, male or female, red or blue, etc. Which the output is a categorical that comes under the classification problem. The classification algorithm predicts the categories present in the data set. And some real world examples of classification algorithms are in the very first session I discussed, that is the spam detection, email filtering, detecting a particular person is having heart disease or not. These are all comes under the classification problem. And these are some real world examples of this classification supervised machine learning technique. And coming to the regression algorithms are used to solve regression problems in which there is a linear relationship between the input and the output variables. These are used to predict continuous output variables such as market trends, weather prediction, height of a person, or weight of a person, etc. All this comes under the regression algorithm, where the output variable is continuous, not categorical. It is continuous variable. And coming to the advantages and disadvantages of this supervised machine learning. Since supervised machine learning work with the label data set, so we get the exact idea about the classes of object. And these algorithms are helpful in predicting the output on the basis of prior experience. And coming to the disadvantage, these algorithms are not able to solve complex tasks, and it may predict the wrong output if the test data is different from the training data. Chances are there that if test data is different, what we trained, it may predicting wrong results. And it requires lots of computational time to train the algorithm. And coming to applications of supervised learning. We have image segmentation, medical diagnosis, credit card fraud detection, spam detection, speech recognition. These are some of the applications that comes under supervised machine learning. Coming to unsupervised machine learning, it is different from supervised machine learning and unsupervision. There is no need of any supervision. It means in unsupervised machine learning, the machine is trained using the unlabeled dataset and machine predicts the output without any supervision. There is no need of any supervision. Still, the machine is going to be trained using the unlabeled dataset and it is going to give you the output. In unsupervised machine learning, the models are trained with the data that is neither classified nor labeled, and model acts on the data without any supervision. The main aim of this unsupervised machine learning algorithm is to group or categorize the unsorted dataset according to the similarities, patterns, and differences. Machines are instructed to find the hidden patterns from the input dataset. As there is no labeling of dataset, machines are instructed to find the hidden patterns from the given datasets. Let us discuss this with an example. Suppose there is a basket of fruit images and we input it into the machine learning model. We are just feeding or we are training a basket of fruit images. The images are totally unknown to the model, and the task of the machine is to find the patterns and categories of the objects. Now the machine will discover its patterns and differences such as color, shape, and predict the output when it is tested with the test dataset. So there is no labeling of the data, just directly we feed the fruit images. It understands the underlying patterns and it is going to predict the data. It is going to give you the actual output. And coming to unsupervised machine learning, it is classified into two types, which is clustering and the association. The clustering technique is used when we want to find the inherent groups from the data. That is when we want to group the objects into one cluster, similar objects into one cluster, which will have most similarities and they are going to remain in one group and may have no similarities with the objects of other groups. So that comes under clustering. A group of objects with similar thing is going to group into one cluster and no similarity, so it's going to group into other object. That is what the clustering. And coming to association, rule learning in an unsupervised learning technique, which finds the interesting relations among variables within a large data set. So the main aim of this association is to find the dependency of one data item on another data item and map those variables accordingly so that it is going to generate the maximum profit. So these are the two types that comes under unsupervised machine learning. One is a clustering and other one is a association. The advantages of this unsupervised machine learning, it is used for complicated tasks when compared to the supervised one because these algorithms work on the unlabeled dataset. And these algorithms are preferable for various tasks as getting the unlabeled data is easier as compared to the labeled dataset. And coming to the disadvantages of this unsupervised machine learning algorithm, it can be less accurate as dataset is not labeled and algorithms are not trained with the exact output in prior like supervised machine learning. And working with unsupervised learning is more difficult as it works with the unlabeled dataset that does not map with the output. And just let me show you the diagrammatic representation of this supervised and unsupervised, and there is a reinforcement learning that we'll discuss in the next session. Supervised learning, I already told you, it makes machine learn explicitly. And whereas coming to unsupervised, there is no supervision, understands the data, and is used to train machines using labeled data, supervised machine learning. And coming to the unsupervised, uses unlabeled data to train machines. And these are some of the popular algorithms: linear regression, logistic regression, support vector machines, KNN, and decision tree comes under supervised machine learning. K means clustering, hierarchical clustering, principal component analysis, and DB scan. This comes under unsupervised machine learning. And This is how the training labeled data. We are going to train the machine learning algorithm. It is going to identify cats as cats and not cats. And this is unsupervised machine learning, where we give bunch of fruits. It is going to understand the underlying patterns, and it is going to categorize which fruit according to the patterns what it has observed. Thank you.